very common question and a very important question is, how should my knock fit? I've done a lot of videos in the past and articles about the importance of proper knock fit, and this is in relation to the diameter of your center serving and also the type of knock you choose. Different knocks usually have slightly different variations in their fit, and it's not always because of the depth of their throat or the type of throat or even the width of the tails of the knock. The material itself will also have an importance of how easy or difficult that snaps on. The reason this is important is because an arrow needs to come cleanly off your center serving. It shouldn't be pulling that string all the way through the system before it finally pops off, because as it's pulling it forward, it could also be changing the direction of that arrow. So how do you get the perfect fit? Now in this case, I've got 3 different little servings here as examples, and honestly, I did a video on how to check this using different diameter serving materials and how to know whether or not you need a tail under or no tail underneath. If you don't understand what I'm saying, you might want to look up that video. However, right now I want to talk about just the knock fit and what to look for. So in this case, I've got a perfect fit and I kind of go to the far end of the extreme. So in this example here, this is actually a perfect fit. So when this knock goes on here, it has just a slight tick sound. You can hear the tick. Now here's another thing that's important. When it clicks on, you want to be able to rotate in the throat of the knock. Okay, so you can see here as your bow would be drawn back, if that string wants to turn at all, it still can, and this knock can come off this string really clean. I don't have to pull it down very far and it comes off. Okay, now if I have a different knock, which could be slightly tighter, and I do it in that same spot, well, now you can see it goes much, much further. Another thing that would be the other extreme is if you get a knock in there and it's too loose, where there's side-to-side play in there. Okay, so you can see in this case, this is kind of free-floating all throughout that serving, whereas if I come here to the thicker, this is the thinnest, this is a medium, this is the thickest. You can see there it snaps on, but even there it's too much. This actually fits perfectly right there. Has that little click, I can rotate nicely. There really isn't much torsional play, or even right there where the tail's under, that's actually perfect. And you can see I got to pull it a little bit more to come off, but you can tell the difference. Now here's what's important. If you shoot lighted knocks, different lighted knocks also have different fits. In this case, I've got 2 knocks from the same manufacturer, but one is a uninock and one was a traditional. You can tell there's a slight difference in these, but there's a big difference in how these fit on to the serving, and more importantly, there's a big difference in how this thing right here fits compared to a stock knock. So you really want to hear the click like this, and you want to be able to have that rotation, but you don't want to have a bunch of side-to-side play in the knock. Now on the far extreme end right here, I have the thickest serving as an example, and I'm going to take one of the smaller knocks, okay, and I'm going to clip this on here. So you can hear there were 2 stages there. There was a click there, and then another click. This would be definitely excessive. You can see as my knock would turn, or as my D-loop would turn, it would actually turn the arrow. That would cause major problems on accuracy. The other thing to look for is if you're starting to build a flat spot on this center serving where the arrow is literally building two flat spots on that round serving, and you're putting your nock into almost like a rudder where it's going in, and if your D-loop turns at all, it's immediately going to be turning that arrow. That's also going to cause negative effects on your accuracy. So the keys are a slight click to be able to get it to come off without pulling that string too far before it pops off. You don't want to see flat sides being worn through the serving where it's too tight. And this is something that can easily be adjusted by having your archery shop redo a center serving for you with a slightly smaller diameter, or even doing this yourself through a lot of the videos that we offer. What you have to keep in mind when it comes to serving diameter is there's a lot of factors that all tie into how this fits. Even if you've shot the same nock your whole life, if you've changed bow companies and that bow company now has a stock string that's made with a different type of material than your previous bow company, different materials have different thicknesses, whether you're shooting an 8125 or a 452X or a bloodline, whatever your preference is for string material, they're all going to have a slightly different diameter to begin with. Then, depending on the type of serving that your shop or you prefer to use, that might have a different thickness or diameter, and also the types of colors too. Depending on the type of color your string is going to you're going to have to either use more or less wax in order to get certain colors to impregnate that string to give you that bright, especially the brighter colors will take more ink and more wax to go in there. So on some of the colors with the more bright colors, they might have a smaller center serving than a plain white or a plain black string that doesn't have much of that coloration or that wax in it. You might have to have a thicker serving. So know what it is that you're looking for, and also depending on the arrow you pick, the type of lighted nock you pick, or if you just decide to change out colors and go to a different type of nock, make sure that center serving fits perfectly, because again, what you're going to look for is a little click. You want to be able to slightly hold that nock and be able to rotate that string inside there. You don't have a lot of left and right play, and you want it to come off with a minimal amount of pressure. You don't want it to flip off, but this can come off easily and give me great arrow flight. Or again, is if I'm down here to this thicker area, you can see how much more pressure it takes to get that off, and that will definitely cause less accuracy down on the target.